Hello and welcome to this edition of the Boob Tube Buddies podcast featuring our discussion of Netflix's Black Mirror, episode 3 of season 1, entitled The Entire History of You. I'm your host, Foxman, and I'm joined by my beautiful co-host and my wife, Bethany. What's going on, Bethany?
Black Mirror, won't you come, won't you come?
Okay. I was wondering what so this is just every episode then we're doing that?
I mean, for as long as I can remember. Probably in a way from now I'm going to be like, oh shit, I didn't look up a song that has the word black in it.
I'm pretty sure that there's a lot. Like, you have Paint It Black, right?
I already did that one.
You already did Paint It Black?
I mean...
you launched out like 10 the very first episode.
And then, there's a couple that just I can't do. Like, there's that Amy Winehouse song, I Go Back to Black Mirror. I mean, I don't know.
I go back to Black Mirror.
Yeah, it just doesn't sound very good.
Yeah, you have to add in all the extra syllables.
Yeah, it's not very good.
Okay. For those of you joining us for the first time, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and Reddit. Just look up Boob Tube Buddies and you'll find us. The Reddit one's kind of funny because I created a subreddit. I keep up with it. I made all these unique individual flares and then do virtually nothing to promote it. In fact, we're interviewing for most of these podcasts. We are interviewing Redditors, and I never mentioned the subreddit to a single one of them at any given point in time.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah. Good self-promotion, right? So actually, speaking of that, this episode we are joined again by Jables, who is basically going to be the replacement for anybody in any episodes that ends up backing out. And so far, I've set interviews and actually recorded a bunch of them for future seasons and stuff like that. But this one, the guy just kind of ghosted me a little bit. And so Jables lives right down the road and can come over on short notice.
I hope he name drops lots of people we know that we went to school with doing embarrassing things again.
Oh, yeah. Did you catch the bleeping?
Yeah.
I literally had to go back and bleep out because...
You can't, yeah.
But okay, so, and we're also going to have Michael's Preach or Don't Preach segment. If you listen to the first couple episodes, it's basically just a quick few-minute summation of what the moral of the story is, Aesop's Fable style. But anyway, let's kind of jump into it, unless you have anything else you wanted to go over real quick.
Nope, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay. Oh, and we have a Rogue One podcast that we just put out a few days ago, so definitely check that out if you watched the movie, because if you didn't, it's like chock full of spoilers, like everything we do.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Rogue One is a Star Wars movie.
Nailed it. Oh my gosh.
Insight.
Man, you look really proud of yourself.
That was so stupid. I don't know why I thought that was funny.
Yeah, good joke. Okay, so this episode of Black Mirror, The Entire History of You, it's a 48-minute episode.
Really a feel-good episode.
Yeah, definitely. Left this one feeling just absolutely uplifted. And actually, before we really dive into it, we have a little segment we like to do at the beginning of every episode. It's called Summon It Up in a Tweet, and basically the point is to use 144 characters or less to wrap up the message of the show.
I think this one's easy to do.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. Did you write down one?
No, but I think I could.
Off the dome?
No, let's keep rolling here.
Okay, alright, so here it is, Summon It Up in a Tweet.
Oh yeah, we're summon it up, just to summon it up. Summon it up, oh yeah, we're summon it up. Oh yeah, we're summon it up, just to summon it up. Summon it up and up.
Tweet. Okay. People can rewind their memories. Guy obsesses on wife's ex, finds out he's not his daughter's father. Wife leaves. He removes chip manually. And that is some... Oh, wait, no. You have one. Let's hear it.
No.
Here it goes. Come on. It's so easy. Oh.
Guy sees wife flirt with ex, obsesses, gets wasted, goes nuts, sees that guy and wife cheated. Wow,
this has to be well over 144 characters. And that is Summon It Up in a Tweet.
I could have done it.
Okay, so let's just go ahead and jump into the episode here. We start off with the main character, the protagonist, Liam Foxwell, who's interviewing for a new position at his firm.
I would like to say that I meant to bring this up, that the main actress that plays his wife, I really love her, Jodie Whittaker. She was the main actress in Broadchurch. That's also on Netflix.
Yeah, I didn't
really
see
good
that.
Show.
It was good?
Yeah, really, really good. She's really good on that.
What's the premise of that?
It's like a detective series. A boy gets
sum it up in
murdered.
a tweet, actually. 144 characters.
No. Anyway, moving on. His interview is painful to watch.
Yeah, and especially since we watch it like a dozen times throughout the episode.
Did you notice that whoever he's interviewing in front of, the partners, I guess, they all have unopened beers in front of them, but like multiple beers. So, one guy has 2, it looks like Yinglings. I'm sure it's not Yinglings. The other lady has a couple unopened Yinglings. It reminded me of high school theater where you overdress the stage because you want things to make it look like it's really happening. So, here, let's put some beers in front of him and some beers. Why would there be beers there? Why would they be drinking beer?
I didn't notice it at all, honestly.
You didn't notice all the bottles of beer?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it was so weird to me that they had all these and that they were all capped.
That is, yeah, that doesn't even really fit with the scene.
I don't know.
Okay, but anyway, the reason it goes badly is because they have something that they want to do that he deems, I guess, to be a little unethical and kind of questions it, and instantly the vibe of the room just kind of shifts. And
at the end, they say, we really look forward to wanting to see, or we really want to look forward to seeing you again.
Yeah.
There's something terrible like that.
Super awkward, and he gets in a cab afterwards and first off, we see an ad for the willow grain implant, which is the thing that everybody has. And it was a little on the nose, but I mean, we kind of need to see it just to sort of understand how widespread this is. Although you really don't necessarily need to see it.
I don't think. I think that I don't necessarily know that we needed to see the commercial for the grain.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't know that I felt this way the first time, so maybe I'm just like overanalyzing it the second time, but it felt a little on the nose for me to even have the ad there, because it's pretty well explained throughout the rest of it.
I will say this application of the grain, rewatching an interview or something like that, is a good example of how the grain can be helpful. Let me see my performance in the instance of, let me see what I did wrong, what I did right, and tailor my expectations to what really occurred, whether it was good or bad. So that's one of the only times in this show you see a potentially positive way or constructive way to use the technology.
Yeah, because the rest of the time it seems like it's virtual. Well, I guess we see the one guy who is reviewing the hotel, and he's looking at the frayed carpet and all the other little details of the hotel that suck.
Well, and then the next scene, another really good example of the good use of technology, the security point, where he's got to go through, and the security is able to see the last 24 hours and then the last, 62 hours or whatever they said, of what he had been doing, I guess, to sort of ensure that he was safe going through. So that is a cool...
the airport security part is a really interesting and pragmatic usage of this. So,
but it did remind me of a future episode that everyone is acting a certain way to get ratings.
Yeah, not Jessica Chastain, the Bryce Dallas Howard episode.
Yes. So, but
I always get them mixed up, by the way.
Well, they both have red hair and wide set eyes.
Okay. Yeah.
But, no privacy. So that anyone, in that sort of setting can pull back. That would definitely affect your behavior, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. I would definitely say it would. I mean, how awkward. Those security guys must catch so many videos of people masturbating and, all sorts of other stuff. And then,
oh, yeah.
And if they have chips, then they can go back and look at...
Yeah.
That's kind of a fucked up invasion of privacy.
Agreed. Unless at the end of the day, they wipe all the security officers, whatever they saw for that day.
I would hope that would be the case, but even then...
Snapchat,
So then the security guards would have part of their memory wiped?
Well, just the specific picture of it.
Yeah.
It's not perfect. It's not a perfect technology.
Yeah, I'd say so. So, anyway, we see Liam show up at a house party. He's going through old memories real quick ahead of time.
To remember the hostess.
Yeah, her name. And so he goes inside and...
Why does the hostess, Lucy, seem so surprised to see him? She must have known that Fee's husband was coming.
He wasn't supposed to come. She says that.
Oh, okay.
She said, I thought you weren't going to be able to make it. He says, I finished up the interview earlier than I expected.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So anyway, he comes in. He sees her, kind of. I don't know if you can tell that she's flirting from across the room, but body language doctor me says that something is going on.
I don't know. I don't, unless I was already suspicious. I don't know if I saw you having a conversation with a woman, like laughing together, my red flag.
Yeah, kind of leaning in towards each other a little bit, and yeah, there's definitely some very obvious body language going on.
But they're friends. They're old friends.
Yeah, no, that's not the case. They're a lot more than that. And their body language, I think, clearly shows. I mean, obviously to him, it's a red flag instantly.
Okay.
Of course, we find out that he's a little overbearing, but he is right. So anyway, he ends up watching back their body language from when he first walked in, like, multiple times, even before he leaves. Like, he watches it even right now while they're at the dinner party. So it cuts to them having dinner. This new girl walks in, and she is...
Fee's friends are douchebags.
Yeah, they are.
Talking about, well, let's appraise the appraisal. And then Jonas, the guy that had the, I suppose, intimate interaction, he's like, no, obviously Liam's uncomfortable, and winks at Liam. I don't like when men do that.
No, that is weird.
It's so...
It's just douchey.
It is douchey.
It's douchey. And so, yeah, there's a bunch of lines here. First off, the new girl that walks in talks about having how she removed her grain, which is what they call it, the memory chip.
This reminds me of people who are like, oh, I don't do Facebook.
Yeah.
Very, not that, I mean, hers was ripped out. It was gouged out, so it was a horrific experience, but just sort of like smug when people, when you say, oh, I haven't, I'm not on. I don't do Facebook.
Yeah.
No, I don't do social media. I'm just too busy living my life.
I don't eat meat. I don't judge people who do, but yeah.
Helen was a little bit like that for me.
Yeah, I mean, she was fine, but yeah, she was definitely a little much.
It would make me a little defensive, like the girl with the bouffant hair.
Exactly. And so we hear Jonas talk about a lot of things, like talking about watching back his old redos of old sexual experiences. Like, come on, we all do it. Yeah, he is. And so Jonas mentions something about being a serial monogamist. He's like, staying faithful to my cornflakes right now.
And B's like...
Yeah, she really oversells it. Like, just, I mean, belly laughing, basically.
I will say, in social settings, I tend to overlaugh at people. Just nerves or not necessarily knowing what to say next, I overlaugh. Or if somebody has said a joke that I think they think is funny, I will overlaugh because I want them to feel comfortable and I want them to like me.
For a podcaster, that's a good thing. I'll tell you who does not overlaugh. Do you know who?
No.
Me. I don't overlaugh.
I think you laugh a lot.
I do not laugh a lot. I silent laugh a lot of the time. Or I do a little chuckle. I'm a chuckler. I'm definitely a chuckler.
Okay.
You don't think I'm a chuckler?
I was the one that said I think that you laugh. So if I'm using those words interchangeably, yes, you chuckle.
Okay. But I'm not like an overlapper, right?
No.
Okay, you don't seem convinced. I mean, I want to know, am I an overlapper?
Let's play this back. Yeah. I feel like you're very much like Liam.
Huh, I need to go back and listen to all my old episodes.
Yeah.
That's basically my version of the grain.
Yeah.
This is the Boob Tube Buddies podcast. Okay, so actually this would be a good point to cut over to our interview. Again, we are joined by Jables, thanks to the Redditor who backed out. And Jables, thank you very much for actually, stepping in to do this. So, without further ado, here's the interview with Jables.
Player 3 has entered the game.
All right, Foxman here, joined by my buddy Jables to discuss the entire history of you and Black Mirror as a whole. How you doing, Giblets?
I'm very well. Thanks for having me back after that last performance.
I thought you were really good the first time.
I appreciate that.
How did you know, listening back on it? Because I know that I've been now podcasting for about a year, 6 months on Boob Tube Buddies.
Wow.
So I know that it's weird when you first start hearing your voice and hearing your cadences and things like that. Because everybody has like this memory of their voice, like to kind of throw back to the show right here.
Nice segue.
Of how just you think that you're so eloquent and articulate.
I never think I'm eloquent or articulate.
Okay, so how did you think that you were on the show?
I thought I did better than I thought I did.
Oh, this is going off the rails quickly.
No, I ended up doing. I thought I did pretty well.
You did.
I'll pat myself.
You
on
did
that.
very well. Oh my god, I've never even heard you say well. You always say good. You are really just like putting on airs for this thing.
I do what I can.
Okay, so I just want to jump straight into the entire history of you. Did you watch the second episode, or are you just watching the ones I'm reading on for interviews?
I've actually started. You got me hooked on it. I started watching them all, and I think I like them in sequential order now. Like,
Okay,
they just keep getting better.
Oh, perfect.
Each one.
So this one right here is one of my favorite episodes. However, it is also like one of the ones I probably least want to watch multiple times. It is such a fucking downer.
Yeah, the first time I watched it, it was like a bittersweet feeling. Because, well, let me tell you, ever since I was like super young, that's been like my dream, to be able to have all your memories and to be able to just watch them like that. Like, I literally thought, you know, the perfect afterlife would be to be able to just sit in a, you know, recliner and just watch my life exactly like the episode, basically. Only I didn't think of all the fast forwarding and stuff. But
yeah,
so I love the idea. But then after I saw, you know, what happened and what it caused the show, I'm like, oh wait, that would be probably terrible.
Yeah, when I was talking to Bethany, and it'll be on the podcast, about how I think it would be cool to do it selectively. And of course, you could say, you know, like a camcorder. No, but like to actually be able to. So let's say you go on a vacation and you just flip it on for the whole vacation,
right?
But maybe don't have it on for the arguments and the bad interviews, getting fired from a job, you know, just like
those.
Yeah, you know, getting picked up and going to jail and put in the drunk tank or something. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it would be cool to have it selectively. But watching this episode definitely shows you like the downside.
Totally. And the second time I watched it, I was more enraged than anything. Like, I mean, before I came over to the interview, my goal was to not sound like a misogynist, but my blood was just boiling throughout, especially the second time I watched it. Knowing, like, just seeing her face and knowing what she did and she
knowing
knows,
what she knows, yeah.
And just to lie over and over again, I was getting so angry. And the thing is, I mean, if this ever became a reality, girls would be screwed. Like,
honestly, guys would be too.
I don't know. Not as much as girls, because, I mean, girls, they stick to their lie and they just hold on to it. Like, hey, if you can't prove it wrong, it never fucking happened. I mean,
See, but I think that guys do the same thing, except for them, it's like, the import of it, like, it doesn't matter after it's over. Like, they just don't worry about it. Like, if they have their affair. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I guess relationships would just be boned. I mean,
yeah.
There'd be no chance of having, I mean, there's nothing. There's no way that, I don't know.
I get what you're saying. So you've watched it now twice in a couple of days.
Yeah, I watched it twice.
What moment from this episode, the entire history of you, do you think will, like, stick with you? Or concept?
Oh, man.
Is it like what you said about how you thought, like, the perfect afterlife would be you being able to go back and...
Yeah, that's kind of a downer, though, because I was really, like, I really wanted there to be some kind of technology one day that did that, and now I really don't really want that.
I want the Grand Theft Auto statistics. I want to be able to see, like, how many miles I've driven in my car, how many different people I've seen, how many different people I've spoken with.
Yeah.
You know, just, like, random stats, like how many different words I've said in my life, how many total words I've said in my life.
Yeah, but you're always going for records and stuff like that. So
oh my god! But that's the thing, is like I think about that all the time. So I'm constantly trying to boost my stats. You know, like
just in case someone's keeping score.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny.
So what's your take on the message behind the episode?
What's that message?
What?
What's the message?
What is your take on the message? Like, what do you think the message is? I'm asking you. Don't ask me. You flipping the tables here? This is my interview, bitch.
Come on. I mean, the message is DTW. Don't trust women.
Oh my god, dude. So episode 1, you come on and liken your past girlfriends to pigs. No. And on this episode,
DTW.
Dude, oh my god.
So much for not sounding like misogynist.
Jesus Christ. Oh my god. Make Jables interview great again.
No. Nice. You always have a little Trump to splash in there.
He's an interesting character.
He's something. You think I'd get along with him because he's a misogynist.
Yeah. Okay, so let me just flat out ask you, would you want this implant exactly as it is in this episode? No caveats, no modifications?
I definitely would.
You definitely would.
I definitely would, and I would require any woman that I was gonna sound good to.
Jesus Christ.
But I would really appreciate any woman that I was going to be with to have some way that you could link up, like you could, intertwine.
You'd want to mind meld with somebody?
I feel like that's the only way I'd be able to trust that what they're doing is on the level.
Jesus,
no?
dude.
Not
You
jaded?
would be I mean, you are a fucking nightmare, obviously, but you would be a fucking nightmare.
I'm just saying. I mean, keep it all honest. It's all on the table. If you have nothing to hide, then hey, why not meld?
That
with
is
me?
the
that's
God.
not thinking. Okay.
Yeah, and so every time you'd mind meld, the girl would leave instantly.
Well, no. It can't do in the past. It's got to be like from here on.
Oh, okay. So they couldn't access past history.
Come on, who the fuck's gonna stay with me after the mind meld of my past? Are you kidding me? I'm surprised people still talk to me.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, all right. So
clean slate, and then you guys go on together, and you can see each other. That's kind of like a baby monitor, only like a wife monitor.
Jesus Christ.
It works both ways though. Like I'd have to be all legit too. She can see all the stuff I'm doing. I don't do anything. So
oh my God.
Whatever.
NS Jables, right?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so I'm just gonna set that aside, and I think I gave you enough rope to hang yourself there. So you like this episode more than the first two, you think?
Definitely more than the pig fire one.
Okay, yeah.
I really did like the second one though. Anna, this is the third one?
This is the third.
Okay, I really like the fourth one as well.
Okay, yeah. The next one is a great one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the second one I prefer to this episode. I don't know that it's a better episode. I think that this is a more poignant episode, but the second one I just enjoy watching.
I really liked it. Yeah, it was really fun. All the electronics. I like the idea behind it.
Yeah.
I really like that guy's motivation too.
I know. It's so good. Okay, very good. Well, you know that you're coming on now because you are basically making up for somebody who bailed.
Oh, I thought it was just because the butt of some kind of joke is what you want.
No, not this time.
A reoccurring skit of just this ass that comes in and makes himself look even worse than he is.
Well, yeah, that.
Okay.
But
so I'm like the stand-in on the pinch hitter?
That you're the pinch hitter.
I like that.
That's exactly right. So anyway, I'm sure at some point, most likely in the rest of this Black Mirror series, that somebody will back out, so I'll have you back on. If not, definitely for another show. But any last points you want to make before we go?
You don't want to work in the BM thing?
Okay. All right. So what do you think about this BM, buddy? Is it leaving you a bit hollow?
No. Like, every time I watch one of these BMs, I have to... No. Fuck it.
Okay.
Just scratch that. See you later, Boob Tube Buddies.
I'm not editing that out, by the way.
Fantastic.
He came in with like all these notes of these hilarious jokes and setups and things like that.
They don't get to see your air quotes when you say hilarious.
Okay, anyway, thanks for coming on, Jabs.
Always a pleasure.
Player 3 has left the game.
We go on tomorrow like, are we losers? Are we losers? Is he the king, queen of the scroll of the the spree?
And in the fifth year, it was the Kree Skrull Master.
It was just like, dude,
why do we call ourselves
why don't we
Crossover
break out
University
the-
if you guys won't even listen to the stuff?
we're listening, but god
No, 'cause
damn,
you're just like,
man.
oh, I don't heard them. They don't count. Whatever.
I'm not
Fuck
saying
this.
they don't count. I'm just
You just
saying
did that like 8 times.
you were just like,
North Star, who's that?
you're just
Doesn't
like,
matter. Alpha
back in
Space, who's that? Doesn't
2002,
matter.
a hero that no one's ever heard of,
Plenty
who is
of
the
people-
son of the
because
Kree
you haven't
and the
heard of
queen of
them.
the scroll. It's just like,
Because you haven't heard of them doesn't mean others haven't.
Oh,
you know what?
God.
You know what? I'll clear this argument in 2 seconds. It doesn't matter. Let's move on.
this isn't an argument. It's just a statement.
So let's move it on to Al's being molested.
What you?
I mean
Wow,
arrested.
Really?
Molested?
Well, that's
I'm
actually
arrested.
hilarious. That's like molested, not being arrested. Yeah.
You just say molested.
Like the cop came on. I'm not gonna lie, the cop came on kind of strong. I'm kidding. Good evening, everybody. This is Crossover University coming to you late tonight. We got a bunch of interesting topics.
Hey there, little buddies. Does the state of the world leave you in despair and make you want to leave this world only to try out another one? Well, you don't have to wait 50 years for Elon Musk to colonize Mars. You can step into another world right now with Audible. That's right. With Audible, you can go to any foreign world you want with classic authors such as H.G. Wells, Philip K. Dick, George Orwell, and many, many more. And just when you finish one book and become depressed, have to confront the harsh reality that you live in, well, that's when you realize there's 180,000 more titles to choose from. So go to audibletrial.com/Boob Tube Buddies to try it free for 30 days. You'll be doing yourself a favor, and I guarantee you won't regret it. Nor will your fragile, fragile psyche.
Okay, and we're back. Thank you very much to Jables for coming on. Let's get right back into the episode. So we're at the car ride home with Fiona and Liam.
And then not to go back, but I just had a quick thought about the woman who was very pro-grain and Helen who had gone off the grain.
Are you talking about the one who says the thing about the prostitutes like to have them removed?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Right, so she had a very strong feeling about it. It reminded me sort of like vaxxers versus anti-vaxxers.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Very strong opinions either way. And the woman with the big hair, I can't remember her name, but she had science and, things laid out for why the grain had positives. And Helen was like, I don't need it. I don't want it. I know it's not exactly the same thing, but it sort of reminded me of that. Or any sort of argument like homeschooling versus putting your kid in the school system.
Yeah.
Any sort of thing like that. Very, very strong opinions.
Okay. So we're at the car ride home with where he's watching the interview with Fiona. It obviously didn't go well, so he starts asking questions about the old gang and about Jonas, and then he's like, he's a bit of a knob, isn't he?
He's taking out his frustration and anger of how this appraisal went, I think, on her.
Maybe at first, yeah. But, so behind them is Jonas, we find out. He's following them home. We get a playback of that conversation, and essentially, Liam does ask him, but it's kind of after Fiona was like, it's a bit early, isn't it?
So you think that she wanted him to come back to the house?
Oh, yeah. I mean, she says it's a bit early, isn't it? And then kind of like looks at the two of them.
Yeah, I just don't understand why she would want him to come back to the house knowing what happened and how awkward she was with the two of them.
I agree.
You would think she would want to say, okay, it was so nice catching up.
Yeah.
Let's go home.
Gotta keep them separated.
Right. I don't understand what the motivation for that would be.
I agree. That was bizarre. So anyway, they get back to the house and they basically like shoo poor Jonas out of there.
And isn't Jonas a little weird for wanting to come over for drinks?
Yeah, well, he's probably thinking like threesome or something like that.
Oh, you think?
I think so. Why else would he even want to go over there? It would be awkward.
He's just a cocky asshole that likes the idea of covertly flirting with Fee while Liam is the, dummy dingo, none the wiser. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, maybe. But, so...
He was such an asshole about the way he uninvited him, though.
Yeah, he is. He's, like, kissing Fiona and then, like, gives him a hug at first. Yeah. And then, like, as Jonas is awkwardly pulling away, he, like, sticks out his hand again to shake his hand and is kind of, like, smirking at him a little bit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very pointed. Like, there's definitely nothing subtle to it.
Right.
So they go inside and start playing back some videos of the baby's grain, which... This, to me, would be the type of thing where I'd really like the grain.
Yes, definitely. That would be awesome to have that. I would love to have that for just watching what happens in the kids' days. That would be so cool. Poor babysitter. Gina, they get home late and there's no cab, so poor Gina has to stay the night.
Yeah, agreed.
Is she better be paid for that?
I was gonna say they better be paying her overnight. Looks like they can afford it. Ugh. Their house is nice.
Oh, just go sleep in the office, Gina. There's some rags in the dresser you can put on.
Some rags in the dresser.
Oh, that sucked, man. I'd be pissed.
Yeah, so they talk a little bit, and he seems upset. He's basically he gets her to admit that she and Jonas had a fling years ago, and he's like, "Are you embarrassed?" It's embarrassing. You should be embarrassed.
Such a dick.
But he's finding a lot of holes in her story. You know, first it was a week, now it's a month. We find out later it was 6 months, plus, you know, obviously some smatterings of later run-ins.
You know, I wish this episode hadn't ended the way it did, because every point that I want to make ends up, the ultimate thing is, well, she did cheat. I wish that it hadn't ended that way, because he is such a jerk about it and opening up this can of worms that causes all these terrible issues that wouldn't happen if you don't have the grain. Look, things happen in the past.
But that's what Black Mirror likes to do. They like to muddy the waters a little bit.
I think that they could have muddied the waters, and what would have been cooler is if he ruined the marriage by doing something stupid and they hadn't cheated.
I actually totally agree. I think it makes it infinitely more complex that everything that he did was so shitty, and in the end, I don't know if it's justified. That's where you can't really draw the line, but it is true. He finds out that he's raising a child that isn't even his own, that his wife stepped out on him during a very small break, had sex with a guy without a condom, got knocked up. And
how do we know for sure that that child is not his?
I know
they intimated it, but
that's exactly right. It's intimated. So, I mean, like, we can't go in and ask the show writers to do, like, a paternity test or something. We can only take what they give us.
I seriously doubt it's the one guy's. What's his name? Jonas. I'm sure it's Liam's. You have sex with your husband all the time. You have a couple days or a day where you have sex with one person once. No, it's Liam's.
I can't tell if you're being funny. Obviously, it is Jonas's kid. I mean, we know that from the end of the episode.
I disagree.
Are you being for real?
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that it has to be Jonas's kid.
But you watched the episode.
I know. They didn't say it.
They basically did.
We can agree to disagree.
She is basically admitting it with her behavior.
But she doesn't know either for sure.
It seems like she does.
I don't know. I don't know how you would know that for sure.
She seems like she knows it for sure.
Okay,
so anyway, it's just this awkward conversation, kind of like the one we just had, and
no, it's awkward. We can disagree.
It seemed like such an obvious point. I mean, it's what the whole end of the episode turns on. I mean, his reaction to it, her reaction to it, everyone's reaction to it is that the baby is not Liam's; it's Jonas's.
Well, you can vaccinate your children, and I choose not to vaccinate my children.
That's not true either. I don't know what to make of you right now.
Well, I just don't... It doesn't matter. Let's not get caught up in this. I can tell it really bothers you that I am not seeing something that you deem obvious. And I get what you're saying, and I do think that they're giving you that as what it probably is. I just don't think it necessarily means that the baby is his.
Okay. So Liam calls Jonas, or no, Liam calls
Jonas a bitch.
Yeah, you bitch. And she replays it a few times before tromping off. He goes back in the bedroom and apologizes. They have some really hot and steamy sex until you realize that you're actually just watching a memory of them, and their eyes are lit up and they're having just basic, like, spooning, no movement type sex.
Which is like the worst kind of sex.
Yeah. Well, I guess when they're reliving it's basically like they're watching self-pornos.
Which I think this is a really cool use of the thing too.
This is a cool use of it.
I mean, let's say weight fluctuates. I do not like the way I look right now. I would love to put on a video, like, put on something, our wedding night or something. You know what I mean? Like, replay something where I'm feeling a little less holiday ham. You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying.
I like the idea of being lazy.
Would be this... I guess we'll have a conversation at the end of the episode about whether or not you'd want to do it, but I would constantly be worried when somebody was going into their memories of what they were accessing.
I see what you're saying.
Like if they're watching like a memory of like an ex or something like that. Like that would just, and not that I think that I would even obsess over it, but even
that would really upset me.
Yeah. So
no, I didn't think about that.
And the, there's always like that old cliche that happens in TV shows or in real life where somebody's having sex with somebody and says like an ex's name or something like that.
Yeah.
Imagine how easy that would or if it just happened when you were in this scenario, even if you were watching, the person would never believe you.
Right.
Even if you were watching it of them.
Right.
So...
Yucky. Yeah, no, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. But so anyway, he ends up going downstairs to watch Memories of the Party. He just stays up all night, just drinking, doing lip reading stuff. In the morning, he calls over the babysitter to weigh in on the cornflakes
poor
joke.
Gina.
Yeah.
This is the equivalent of drunk texting. You shouldn't do it, but you can't help yourself sending out texts.
Oh, yeah.
Him rewatching these videos.
Yeah, we already see. This is where the downward spiral really starts to hit. Like, he is completely...
You see him getting I think he was kind of aggressive with Gina.
He's a little aggressive with her. Yeah, he's like, no. Hey, it's all fun and games. And be honest, this guy's a bit of a dick anyway. So,
yeah.
She says, no, it's not funny. The babysitter ends up leaving super uncomfortable.
Especially after she hears that he called her a pedophile.
Yeah.
He's like, don't mess, it's just a joke.
Okay, so she comes back in and he starts playing all this stuff. And he's like, look, your gauges, they're all over the place. See how you look at him and then how you look at me? And then it just kind of comes out. This is where we find out, okay, it was 6 months, not a month or 2 months. And she's like, it's not a lie. I fudged the timeline. He's like, oh, okay. So a lie isn't a lie then. He's getting himself all worked up.
Had she not cheated, it sucks. I just think in the beginning of a relationship, our brains are awesome machines. There are reasons why we don't remember certain things, or why we change memories, or why we you know what I mean? There's a reason. It's a defense mechanism. It's a way to self-preserve ourselves. So, something that you say in the beginning of a relationship, going back and looking at it, we are a completely different person however many years later, whatever you said then. In your mind, what? No, it didn't matter. Yeah, 6 months, but we've been together however many years. You know what I mean? Things just change. So even though you felt that way at a certain time, it doesn't have that same impact on you. It's gone.
Agreed. What would be awesome in this situation would be like a selective memory capture. So, and I get, okay, yeah, that's basically just like a camcorder or your phone, but to actually have it in your perspective, in your eye, where you could literally just like tap the thing right behind your ear and then you start recording. So, and you could do it for long periods of time too, like, because with your camera, you're not going to record an hour's worth of stuff. But let's say like you go to Disney World, you just tap it at the beginning of the day, you carry it throughout the whole day. Mm-hmm. And then that way, when you're going to be going to airport security, you're not going to like broadcast this video of you banging a hooker or something like that ahead of time.
I get it. Selectively, yeah, no, I like that. Although I will say, I bet if I looked back at memories in my head that I think, like, God, that was awesome. If I looked back now, well, it wasn't really that awesome. Or I was so funny when I did this, it's not funny at all.
There's this line in The Watchmen where the one character is kind of, like, looking back and lamenting about, like, the glory days. And she says, like, as I look back through time, even the darkest times just get brighter and brighter. Mm-hmm. And I think about that sometimes, about how that's absolutely true. Like, your memory is imperfect, but like you're saying, a lot of it is, it's important that it's actually doing it that way. It takes the gloss off of some of like the more terrible moments, mm-hmm. and then like spit shines the better ones.
Right.
So, okay, but let's, so he gets in his car the next day. The grain is basically telling him, like, I think you might be too drunk to drive. He drives over to Cornflake's house and basically runs in with Jonas behind him. They get into an altercation. It's really awkward. Like, he is super drunk.
Helen's there.
Yes, that's her name?
Helen.
Yeah, okay. The non-memory chip girl from the night before is there. He ends up bopping him over the head.
Bopping.
And
more.
All of a sudden, he wakes up in a field and he's like crashed his car, and we see him kind of flash back to what happened.
And it's awful.
It is awful.
he's totally lost it, and he threatened Jonas basically with his life to wipe every memory, does not want him masturbating.
A broken glass to him.
Yeah, doesn't want, ooh, a little froggy there, doesn't want him masturbating to any thoughts, and he won't let Jonas do it. He makes Jonas put it up on the screen so that Liam can see exactly that those memories are being deleted. And Liam catches...
Yeah, that's
something.
when Liam catches something. We see his reaction, like he just looks absolutely shattered. And we see him walking home. He gets home, he's got a black eye. He sees Fiona sleeping. She wakes up, and first questions, did you wear a condom?
Condom.
And then he immediately asks afterwards if he's Jodie's father. So they don't, like, pussyfoot around this.
Mm-hmm.
This is obviously the crux of it. So he comments on the picture that's behind the bed, how he thought it was a little pretentious, but she liked it. And
that was the giveaway.
Yes, because that was behind her in the video that he saw, just the thumbnail when Jonas was deleting everything, which I'm sure he didn't catch the first time, but when you can go back and review everything and zoom in and stuff like that,
yep,
that is a time where this would be kind of interesting. Like if you were hoping to get the snoops, like some information or something like that, in most cases, if you walked into, you know, somebody's house or room or office or whatever it was, if you wanted to get some quick information, this would be a cool thing.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
you tap on the thing,
just
you look or just do a scan. View. Yes, exactly.
Yes. And this would be a wonderful tool for crime, you know, for finding out crime and for stopping crime. I mean, I don't know when somebody dies if you can go back and see their grain, but that would be amazing too.
Oh, yeah, because when you first said that, I was thinking, well, I mean, you would definitely have to, like, subpoena them to provide that information, and that would be, like,
and they could wipe it.
Yeah, and it would be a horrible precedent, too, for... And even if you wipe stuff, is it, like, kind of stored a little bit to where it could be grabbed later?
But, like, what about eyewitnesses, you know? Like...
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah. I mean, I know you love the crime scene. What are those called?
The crime scene sketch artists.
Yeah, how terrible they are.
Those kill me, dude. I listen at least once a year. I go back and look at all the old ones because they're so good.
But this would be, well, that would be sad for you because then you wouldn't get to see the amazing crime scene photos that they draw. But just to say,
yeah, this is the darkest timeline.
Yeah.
So he basically makes her watch the video of her and Jonas having sex, and I guess he was not wearing a condom. And so he's like, so, you know, I walk out for 5 days and you waited 4. That's just heroic. He's really digging the knife in now. And so he's like, at one point he literally throws her to the bed and he's like, look at what you're doing to me. I need to see it, please. Mm-hmm. And she puts it on the screen. He and everybody else watching find out that he is not the father of Jodie. And then, so what we get after that is shots of the house. And actually, hold on. This would be a really good point for us to cut to Michael's Preach or Don't Preach segment. We can come back in, talk about this scene, and wrap it up.
Okay.
All right, so here is Preach or Don't Preach.
Preach or Don't Preach.
And now, here's Mike.
Hello once again, buddies, and welcome to another episode of Preach or Don't Preach, the final episode for Season 1 of Black Mirror. And we'll be talking about the episode titled The Entire History of You. Interestingly enough, I was just reading, this has been optioned by Robert Downey Jr. to possibly be made into a movie. And I'm happy to hear that, because this was probably one of my favorite personal episodes. Maybe not, it may not have been as good as 15 Million Credits, but I think I liked it more. But let's go ahead and jump right into the deep end of the pool and get at what I do. So with this episode, I think it looks at our efforts to hold on to everything, right? We are constantly documenting things nowadays, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram.
You know, you see people driving around or riding their bikes with GoPro cameras on their head. I don't know what about going to work or going to school requires you to be able to record that trip, but we do it, and we don't want to like let any moment slip away. I mean, even me, like, I don't remember the last time I took a meaningful photograph, but I know I have 5 cameras in my house, so you know, it makes no sense. I mean, there's 2 of them right here that I'm never going to use. But I think what this does is it begins to devalue memories. And memories are special, I think, in particular because they are imperfect. An example I would use would be like my first kiss. I think back to it and I remember it through like this emotional lens that's not completely accurate. And to me, it seems like it's this sweet moment, it's tender, it's you know, all this good stuff. But I think if I looked at it empirically, if you showed me a video or a photograph of it, you'd see 2 kids just kind of ramming their faces together, all white-knuckled and tense, and it would be horribly awkward, and I would not want to remember it that way, right? And the other thing is, like, with bad memories, why would you, like, I don't know why you'd want to be able to go back and look at your bad memories. I mean, and there's the chance, you know, you look at something and you just delete it. But that kind of selective thing is a whole other can of worms that we won't go into. But you know, and it is in that, going back to the fading. You know, pain fades with the memory. So it's good to remember it, and because it's a part of who you were, who you became, right? But you need for that memory to fade. You don't want to sit there and obsess over it and never let it go, which is kind of at the crux of the episode. And that degradation of memory, it can be a coping mechanism, even if it was like a good memory, you know, that's attached to, you know, the memory of your first kiss, that's attached to your first breakup, you know, that's attached to your second kiss, you know, that whole thing. But we need to be able to remember those things, but not hold on to them or not go back and see them in their full context, because the full context is never really something that allows us to heal. It makes you relive the moment over and over again. I would say it's something similar to what goes on in Westworld, where you have those hosts with the perfect memories and they can't ever let anything go, and you know, it just kind of ends in disaster. To pull an example from fantasy, but I think the point is the same. And I think in that sense, like, perfect memory would seem to be a trap that you wouldn't be able to escape because of that. Like, it would always be fresh in your mind, you know. You might never stop loving that first person, and that would prevent you from maybe moving on to the next person, or you would never be able to get over that, you know, that fear of breaking a bone, or, you know, as you move forward in life, and you would end up living in fear. So there's all these side repercussions that are a really interesting thing to think about that we just don't have the time to go into. But again, I would love to hear your feedback on that, what you think of it. And I think ultimately the question this episode is asking is, do we really want to not forget? Do we really want to be able to hold on to everything in its perfection and you know, not ever be able to move on or be able to go back and obsess over every little detail of our lives? I just don't think any of that sounds healthy to me. But, you know, get in contact, let us know. Give us your opinions. You know how to reach us. And as always, remember, the unevaluated show is not worth watching. And I will see you guys for season 2. I'm looking forward to it. All right. Peace, everybody.
Okay, and we're back. Thank you to Mr. Preacher himself, Michael. But let's get back into and wrap up the episode. So the last bit here... Go ahead. You have some, Dad?
Yeah, just when he's watching them have sex and she can't watch, and we never see them having sex, you just hear the sounds. It reminded me of the first episode where he's having to have sex with the pig. You know, get that feeling, that just uncomfortable... This show knows how to make a person squirm.
That's funny, because as soon as you started that anecdote, I was certain you were going to talk about the second episode where he's forced to watch Wraith Babes.
Yes, and the same thing. This one was a little bit more to me like the first episode, because it's... But yeah, it's the same thing. Same feeling where it's so uncomfortable.
They do like to make you squirm. You're right.
Yeah.
So basically, the last bit of the house is just him walking, or the last bit of the show is just him walking around the house, looking at different places where he and Fiona used to have these happy memories. The house is now just dim and dull, whereas all the memories, it's lit and full of life, and now it's just
happy.
him wallowing.
Yeah.
And
sad.
so the last bit is basically him slicing his neck with a razor blade in front of the mirror in the bathroom, and grabs out the pliers and starts digging around and pulls it out.
Yep.
It's gross.
What do you think? So, what do you think happens after this? Do you think they stay together? You think they don't stay together?
Definitely not.
Do you think he rips it out so that he can... Okay. All right. So he can not remember Fiona and get those good memories out?
He'll still remember her. He just won't have to go back and, obsess. And even if he does, then it'll be with his normal memory, not like where you can go back and, analyze every single detail.
So you don't think that they would stay together?
No, I do not.
Okay.
All right, so I just want to ask you the most basic question of the show. Would you want to have this?
No.
Okay. Now, would you want to have the sort of modified version that I was talking about? Where you could just hit the thing and then go back and...
Yes, but I bet I would have so many... You know how people post on Facebook videos of fireworks shows or videos of their kids walking down the aisles at Disney and stuff? It's just... You never watch them again. It's nobody wants to watch your fireworks display. Nobody.
It's so true.
And even you aren't going to watch it again. Every year, I take pictures and video of fireworks. I delete them all. I should just put my phone down and watch the damn fireworks because, so...
I do not take videos of fireworks.
I know you don't. But it just...
it always looks so shitty, too. That's the thing. It's like, it looks so bad.
Every time I see people posting videos like, oh, we're at the theme park, we know what it looks like when you're at the theme park. We know what it's like. I don't know. So I think I would have lots of videos like that I would be like, oh, delete, 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 delete. But yeah, I guess I guess it would be cool because I wouldn't necessarily have something in front of my face that I'm having to hold, making everything look tiny. It's just my eyes. So yeah, I would like it, but my cloud would get full all the time. I'd keep getting flashes in front of my eyes. Your cloud is full.
Yeah, that's true. I'm sure that they have like memory upgrades, and I'm sure that they're like.
Oh, so then I'd have all these
amounts.
Files that.
Yeah.
Just stressing me out. All these files of the kids at a water park or the kids walking into school for the first day.
Yeah, or like a crepe you got at a restaurant or something like that.
Oh my god, yeah. Or the
so
food
much stupid food shit.
The 18th year of Lila and I making Christmas cookies. Just.
Yeah, you'd be like, oh man, I really eat a shitload of pizza.
Oh my god, yeah.
Okay, so is there any last points that you want to get in before we wrap things up?
I don't love this episode. It makes me so uncomfortable and so sad, and I hate it.
I love this episode, but I have to, like, watching it the second time, I didn't want to watch it the second time. Like, there are other episodes that have more uplifting parts where this one, you're literally circling the drain the whole time. Like, you're getting lower and lower and lower before you're flushed out of the bottom of the credits.
And, he ruined a perfectly good, not him, but just a perfectly good marriage is ruined.
I know, because she cheated and had a baby with another guy. So, thank you guys so much for joining us today. Again, you can search Boob Tube Buddies on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. We absolutely will get to any of your points on any episodes specifically that you want to talk about. So reach out, let us know any of your thoughts, concerns, comments, corrections, anything like that. And I guess that's about it. If you guys wouldn't mind leaving us a review on iTunes or Stitcher, or even better, honestly, just tell a single friend about it. That would be awesome. We'd super appreciate it.
That'd be the tits.
That'd be the tits. Bethany, why don't you tie a bow on this bitch?
Good night, little buddies.